I don't understand. Was she just doing it to torture him because
he
had been
but why?
Because she was supposed to be...
He had been torturing her.
By taking charge of the...
But no one's going to say anything because he's so small and innocent.
Mary Beth Baird was not meant to be the Virgin Mary. And Owen is the reason why she was. And Barbara Wiggins was supposed to be head of the cast, I think.
No, she was just supposed to be, like, director and all
exactly. Like, she was going to name who everybody was. I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So... Owen kind of got under her skin.
Oh, yeah.
In a way to get back at him, she treated him kind of like a little teddy bear.
Kind of.
But then I love how everything comes, like, full circle around, like, kind of karma. She leaves that kid up there, and it kind of gets used against her when she's like, oh, we can't come back. And they're like, well, you left the kid up in this, like...
In the rafters.
Yeah. You like, left the kid up there, like, you can't come back if you tell someone they can't come. So I think that's also been a theme, too. And I think that conflict brings out the truth that comes back around and will bite you either through karma or just, nature working itself out. Yeah. I think that's...
Wait, I had a question. Who was Mr. Was it Fish?
Fish.
Oh, that's the neighbor.
And why he just goes to the play cause?
Well, because it sounds like most people in the town, like it's a small town.
Oh, okay.
It sounds like most people go to this because it's like Christmas morning and this seems to be like...
We actually don't know the setting, do we?
It's Gravesend, Vermont.
I think Massachusetts, because from Boston down to Washington, D.C., when that train went...
Vermont's pretty close to Boston. I feel like I feel like it's called Gravesend, Vermont.
Because remember when the Flying Yankee comes through and they're under it?
I know what you're talking about.
It doesn't. That's like page 180 around.
I'm pretty sure.
What happens is
yeah, they're about 200s.
Yeah, it's around there. And what happens is Owen and Johnny go down into the ravine under the railroad bridge, and it goes into this little paragraph explaining what the Flying Yankee is and how it doesn't stop between Boston and Washington. So I don't know why we go to Vermont.
Oh yeah, you're right.
What?
No, I'm
like
yeah. What
they're in Massachusetts.
I think they're like somewhere in central Massachusetts. Yeah.
Huh. Let me look.
Well, I think that's not really that important, yes, but
it's kind of
where it is not. I think just the point that we were getting at before we moved on to that was that a lot of people from the town go, and that's why that's why Johnny was so surprised when Owen wouldn't let his parents go. It was like,
well, even before that, Owen had like tried to make sure his parents didn't go by like Dan offered to invite them.
Right.
And I was like, no, they probably don't want to go, and like they don't like this kind of story. But Johnny's looking back at it like, I'm pretty sure they would have loved it. This is like totally the stuff they're into.
And love seeing what Owen would do, not necessarily the story. How Owen would do.
Yeah, like it's their son. Like that makes sense that they'd want to go and just, I guess, see him perform.
I don't get why that he didn't tell him what he was being in the first place. Like when Johnny went over, they had no idea what he was talking about. They're like, wait, you're not the angel? It's like they like it when I'm the angel. Like why wouldn't they want him to be like a main part?
I think, parents in general should support their kids when they get bigger roles and plays.
Probably look Gravesend, New Hampshire.
Alright, but that's not Vermont.
It's like the same place.
Right,
it's
so
just
New
a bunch
Hampshire.
of
New England.
All right.
New England, Schmoon, England.
Alright, does anyone else have anything they want to say?
I think Owen is a very practical character. He always does, just like, you know what, he chose Mary Beth Baird because she'd never been the Virgin Mary before. And her name was Mary, which was just another
I think
also
he
to get out of it. He was just like, oh, Mary hasn't been married, and they have the same name. So
but
instead of awkwardly choosing,
he didn't need to.
No, I think he just.
Awkward.
I think he also felt bad for like he understood like he's been forced to do this same role over and over again, like having to go be the angel, which he despised. I think he kind of like sympathized with her because she had always been like a turtle dove or something, and just kind of stood in the back. He's like, the way I'm guessing it went down in his head is, I feel bad for this girl. I think maybe she should get a chance to do something the same way I want a chance to do something different.
Alright.
Yeah, also something I want to talk about, and I want to come back to the religion thing real quick. The whole fact that Owen, we talked about how he didn't have any Christmas, and then he's pretty much is the Christmas of 53.
Yeah.
And the whole thing that, he's very into religion, and then, he's kind of he is baby Jesus. He is Jesus, and then he sees his own, death on the gravestone. He's kind of like, he's a prophet almost. Like, he knows what he has to do when he's going to die. And I was wondering what you guys thought.
Wait, did it have a date on the tombstone or just his name?
Well, go ahead.
No, I was just remembering.
Oh, okay. I thought you were.
No. I don't know what the date is.
I mean, yeah,
I'm trying to find it.
He calls up, or he tells John that it had his name.
His full name.
John asks, what was the date? And he doesn't tell him. He says there is no date, but he specifically also includes, or John says, what was the date, Owen? I asked him. He hesitated again. There was no date, Owen said. I wanted to cry, not because I believed a single thing about his stupid vision, but because it was the first time he had lied to me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I think, I was wondering what connection do you think it really has to the book? Because there's all this stuff about John being like, Owen's done more than, he's given me more than he's taken from me, even though he did take my mother. So which is kind of like a prophet-like thing, So is that what our author, Mr. Irving, is trying to portray?
Might be.
Boom.
That's definitely a thought.
Just blew all your minds.
Yeah, that was yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think that's something we should watch out for.
I think now that we should
move
move on.
We should have our little reflection.
Question number 3,
Absolutely.
reflection. All right. How well do you think we all listen to each other and communicate with each other during this conversation?
I think we communicate pretty well.
Absolutely.
But there might be times where we're all trying to get our ideas out at the same time, where it becomes a little different.
There's a little bit of overlapping. I agree with that.
But I don't think that we don't end up getting our ideas out.
No, everyone ends up getting a chance to.
Right.
It just,
So I think it's good.
everyone's chomping at the bits, which is a good thing because it's
Absolutely.
better than
And
everyone
I feel like
just
a lot
sitting
of the
back.
times everyone wants to say like sort of the same thing.
Yeah, kind of like Josh
But-
just cut me off.
Yeah.
No, but Josh is right. I mean,
Yeah.
it happens, and it's part of reading your book and stuff like that. What else you got there, Robbie?
What would you guys consider to be the highlight of our conversation today?
When I blew all your minds.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I couldn't answer that question.
No, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we discussed a lot.
And I think it was all some pretty good, important topics.
Right. It's not like what we discussed wasn't a highlight. What do you guys think? What was your highlight?
I enjoyed talking about the baseball and the armadillo and how the armadillo portrays different aspects of.
Yeah, I didn't even think of the armadillo until you said that. I remembered talking about it before, but I didn't think of when it came back and how it tied back to the story and everything. So.
And I think that's what the author's doing. There's so many times, at the end of chapters, where he'll leave a cliffhanger or try to connect something, and he's writing about 53, but then he moves forward, then he moves back to the mom's dad, and kind of everything's all over the place, but at the same time everything's connected. I think we're starting to see some of that stuff. That's kind of cool.
That's kind of like how they did it with the dinner, but I think he executes it so much better than the last author we had. The last one, I didn't like the way he did it. It was confusing. This is a little more coherent and straightforward.
I agree with that.
What conversational strategies do you guys think we use to help sustain our discussion?
We asked each other questions.
We did ask.
We did ask a lot of questions. We used a lot of quotes,
Yeah, we found
quotes.
textual evidence for a lot of stuff.
which is good because it helps to answer the question.
Absolutely.
Also some text to text connections.
Yep.
Right. Well, those are the connections that we're starting to find more often.
Is there anything you think we should use more of? Anyone?
I think that was a pretty good all-around discussion.
Yeah, I
don't
think
know. I
we-
can't think off the top of my head what we might need to improve on.
Yeah, I think we
I
did
mean,
pretty good.
if you get really strict, maybe it's letting each person talk one at a time. But other than that, I mean, I feel like that discussion was as fluid as it could get.
That was
Yeah,
a
we were
very
hitting on
nice
all
and full
cylinders.
discussion.
So, good job, guys. Mr. Paulson, I hope you enjoy.
Thank you very much. We're done. We're done.
All right. Yep. Turning it off right now. Yep.